founded our company 16 years ago. I went to agriculture, tech, real estate is our major brand. And we're on our way to build 25,000 green and smart homes across the globe by the year 2035. So we're in Dubai, we're in UK, we're in Nigeria, we're over 20 estates in Nigeria. For now in Nigeria, we focused more on land banking, helping people to buy land and then watch the value of the land grow. And then our model of housing is green and smart. In Dubai, we focus more on housing, not land really. In the UK, same. In the US, we have a couple of investments. Valdosta, we have 20 units of 3-bedroom we're selling at the moment. Alabama, we have a couple of units we're selling. Then in Katy, in Texas, we are working on over 400,000 units, all powered by solar and wind energy. So on the 40-acre property, we've done a few, events around that. So it's going to be a $150 million project. We're getting institutional funders to release 105 million, and then we are raising 45 million of that. So we've currently, different people investing 100,000 here, 200,000 there, and for me, honestly, the project is humbling. We're still far from the money we're raising, but the response I got, of course, there are naysayers, but it's a proof that the movement is real. Because when you see, particularly the ones who are able to invest big time money, because what I noticed that the people who ask too much questions really don't have the money. So the ones who have the money, what I noticed, they just invest immediately, not much question. But it's been humbling, I've asked myself the way people have just trusted the whole idea and just, investing. It speaks volume to the fact that the conversation is right. People are realizing that, hey, you have to start taking risk. Because my argument is, and I shared in a lot of my books, that becoming a wealthy person or becoming a billionaire or multi-millionaire is always a function of risk. Money is a reward for risk taking, right? And the way we have been wired, we've been wired as Africans, wired and programmed to be consumers and not producers. And why are we not producers? Because it takes risk to produce. First of all, what will I produce? Second of all, what if I produce and nobody's buying? What if I lose all my money? So we've been wired to be the ones buying the jewelries, the expensive cars, the designer clothes. You will literally see a black rapper claim, and I've heard this nonsense, where black artists will not perform because they missed their chain or they forgot their chain somewhere. Can you believe that? So it means that your sense of value, your belief in yourself is a function of the chain you're putting on the wristwatch. And if you don't have it, it's like something's wrong with you. It's like you're not complete. But that's how we've been programmed into that. By the way, it's a program. It's not just that we woke up that way. We've been programmed to believe that you're not worth anything except when you have something to show on the outside. Right? And it's a wrong program. And these are things we need to begin to, change. And even with our kids, we don't want them to take risk. We don't want them to, be careful, you'll fall. Don't go out alone. Don't do this. So, and all these things have structured, we become timid people. We're always scared of taking risk. Each time I watched over an hour interview of Elon Musk. And it's the real facts about, you may hate a lot of these white guys, but what I've noticed with them, particularly if you want to pick Elon Musk, you want to pick the the Grand Cardone as well. You don't pick a Donald Trump, is that they have brutal audacity. They're confident. They are, and they're not caged by all this nonsense, African nonsense we've put in our head, right? To prove that you're a good person is because you're always bowing your head, right? To prove that you're a good person is you're timid. They prove that you're a good person because you can't say the truth to people. You rather gossip about them in their back than tell them how you feel in their presence. These are all the nonsense we've figured out a way to convince ourselves about. And my argument is that needs to stop. We cannot grow with this mindset. We have to put confidence in our people. We have to let people know they can be who they want to be. We have to change the mindset. We have to force our people to start reading. We have to also start telling our stories, because some people are successful but just don't want to tell a story of how did you get to where you are. Right? These are things white people always do. It's always, even Elon Musk, that will tell you he doesn't have time to write books. He's gotten an autobiographer that have done like 3 books on him now, that he gave them the content and the permission to write those things about him, and he vetted to be sure what they were saying about him was accurate. But you see the richest black man, no book. The richest black woman, except for ministry book, because she started ministry stuff, right? But there's no book breaking down principles, concepts that has helped them to get to where they are. So for me, that's what we're doing here. That's the vision. Whether you invest with our company or not, the goal is Africa needs to rise. The goal is we need to change the narrative. We need to start having small meetings like this, and we're not gossiping about the president, not gossiping about some other black guy, but we're critically thinking of how to build systems, how to build companies, how to own companies, how to, build an enterprise, how to take, have some dominion, And lastly, my argument is that we cannot end racism until we end poverty among black people. Right? We cannot. You can, hate racism from now to tomorrow, but if black people continue to be at the lower lower level of the food chain, right, then we are not going to rise. Because if we are the ones that are security guys, if we're the ones that are at the lower job level, I've employed a lot of white people who have worked for me. And I've always said that I'm yet to see one of them that is racist to me. Of course, he will lose his job right away. Right? So the point is that sometimes this whole racism thing is a lot easier to do and to perpetrate, because you're doing to people who are junior to you, they are not. And the perception is always that they are always the one at the lower level. And it's a mental thing. And that's why one of the reasons why I love the Wakanda, was the name, Black Panther movie. Because it was the first time we're seeing a Superman, right, who is black in complexion. And that has something. It has a mental implication even to our kids. That there can be a superhero that is of black color. It doesn't need to only be white. Right? And for me, those are the ways we begin to change the narrative. Is that the more, in Dubai, though I've moved to the US now because of this project, but I lived in Dubai for 3 years. And I remember when I moved in, and arguably I'm the most famous black guy who lived in Burj Khalifa. And of course, most of the security guys are blacks. So I remember when people come visit me and they mention my name, oh, we know him, they treat them special because it's like one of us also live there. I don't know whether you understand what I'm saying. You know, it's a mental thing. It doesn't, I mean, there are other blacks who live there, but they may not be as famous as I am or make it public, right? But it meant a lot to even the security guys there, to even the cleaners. That yes, one of us live here, right? And for me, they look little, but they're important statements we need to start making. There has to be a day where you can say this hotel is owned by a black guy, even though he's in Frankfurt, right? This chain of shopping mall is owned by a black guy, even though he's, you know. And for me, those things are very important. It's so bad now that as a Nigerian, you can't open a business account and $200,000 moves into the account without it being flagged and unnecessary questions being asked. Is that bad? Because it's already an abnormality. Right? There's always already an assumption that money couldn't have come in legitimately. We need to check it. The guy owns a black, Nigeria or Ghanaian passport. And these are things I face daily in business. These are challenges I face. And for me, rather than being discouraged, I get more to say, if more of us are doing what I'm doing, it soon become normal. Right? If more of us are doing and we're doing legit, they will soon get used to it. Because not too many of us are doing it. So it becomes abnormal to see a black guy doing business at a particular level. It becomes really, really abnormal. Because something you really have so much doubt and you're worried and you're thinking it through. Something must be wrong somewhere. How is it doing? Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? There must be something.
Is it legit?
Yes, there must be something legit about it. Yeah. You know, and that's why for me, as we grew our business, I made up my mind. I didn't just want it to be legit. I want to sing it to the rooftop. Right? Some people think we are loud, but it's intentional. Right? So that if you think we are not legit, go do your background check. Right? And for me, it was also to be able to attract people who are legitimate investment and want to do. Because, politicians and all these people are scared of when you're loud. They think you can easily be traced and things can easily be tracked to them. So it also had delivered me from issues of all these people just even wanting to do business with us. They're just even scared, like, oh, that guy is too loud, he's too all over, If we do business with him, they will track us down. And I'm good with that. I'm okay that we're dealing with legitimate entrepreneurs, legitimate hard earners, legitimate professionals who are working hard for their money and are thinking of how to use it to build wealth for themselves. Right? So, because ultimately, like I've shared in my book, nobody becomes rich through employment. Now, there is nothing wrong having a job. Whoever tells you otherwise is lying to you. Because for me, and I shared in my book, the job is the capital. Is what provides the capital for either the investment or the business you want to do. He has a mobile app that he's working on to be able to provide some solutions, just like Upworks and all of that. And I asked him, so how do you intend to market it? He said, from my salary. Okay. So imagine he hates his job and then he gives, because I can't be an employee, they're using me. Well, where will you even get the capital, right, to take the business to the next level or to be able to invest in something? So for me, I think that your job is the seed capital, provides the seed capital for either the investment or the businesses that would then give you financial freedom. What I think is wrong is when you are eating all the money, when you are not realizing the fact that there is no way you can be financially free relying just on the job. The ultimate financial freedom will only come as a result of you investing that money either to co-own a company with somebody else, and that company eventually scale, and that's very important to talk about scaling, because if the company remains small, then it's still active income, it's still not passive income. Your company is only a source of passive income, and the wealth is all, financial freedom only comes through what we call passive income, right? What does passive income mean? Can anybody try?
I could say just a layman's example.
Yeah.
Like creating a small business where, or any business where you sleep on your bed, but you still make money.
Absolutely. I mean, the idea, you got the idea right. So passive income just means money that comes without you doing extra work, right? Aside the initial time you put in your money. So let's say you're investing into buying Tesla shares. Once you pay that initial money for the Tesla shares, if it keeps appreciating, you keep getting dividend every year from Tesla, right? So that's called passive income. If you decide to buy Bitcoin, Bitcoin is going crazy now, right? So you don't need to do any extra work for you to start selling some of your Bitcoin and making good money from it. So that's called passive income. But that passive income only comes when your small business eventually scale to a level where whether you are involved or you're not involved, you are getting dividend every year. So in other words, and this is where people miss it, they just think it's all about owning companies. If you own a company and the company does not scale to a level where it can produce good income for you without you being involved, it's worse than even getting a job. Right? It's worse. It's worse. Right? So my argument is, even when I meet professionals, I said your goal shouldn't even be to start a company. Your first goal should be to be putting your money into some investment that can be giving yearly returns. After your investment is now giving you more than your salary, that's when you should not be thinking of business. Because at that point, you can resign your current job and go and start a company. Because when you start a company, it needs not just your money. If you give it just money, in many cases, the guys running it are going to finish the business. You know what I'm talking about, right? So it requires your effort, and it requires your money as well. So you're better off after you build enough passive income from investment you've been doing, right? Every year they're giving you, X number of returns. Then you can resign, because you now know that you can be collecting salary from the passive income. What the passive income is bringing can sustain you and your family while you try to do this entrepreneurship thing that is, trust me, it's not easy. Some of the most difficult thing to do. Right? Because it comes with so much headache. You're battling with regulatory bodies, government bodies. You're battling with, there's still government bodies. You're battling with employees, right? Because you employ people to do things on your behalf, and you expect them to do it, but they will not do it. I'm still battling with one that I had to, are you kidding me? This is a company secretary who will collect money to say she's going to court to represent the company, and never went to court once. And 2 to 3 times a week, she's collecting money to go to court. And all the court cases, they had to start giving judgment because our rep wasn't around. Right? So these are the kind of sabotage you will face with employees say you want to run a business. You're also going to be having battles with investors as well. Right? Because there is no way, it's easier when, and that's why sometimes people ask me, Stephen, why don't you want to take small investment? Some of us have $5,000, some of us have $10,000. We say, look, the most headache I've ever got in my life are from small investors. Because they don't trust anybody. All their life saving has been given to you, right? They even, if possible, want to control your life. Where are you going? Why are you always traveling? It's our money we are using to travel. Meanwhile, that money cannot even buy one business class, right? So I'd rather deal with someone who just do $1 million at once, $10 million at once, than the smaller, because the more smaller money you take, in business, the more crises you also face. Right? Because there's no guarantee that out of 2,000 people, one of them will not wake up on the wrong side of the bed and just say, well, this guy is the one I want to come after. There's no guarantee because you have that large volume. Right? You have that large volume of people. That large volume. And many of them will not even go the normal route. I've seen people who had, because sometimes people buy land from us and they want refund. And I've realized that the people who get their refund the fastest were those who just went the normal route. They got a lawyer, they went to the Ministry of Justice, and usually they will do a meeting of alternative dispute, right? To say, okay, both parties, how do we resolve? We don't need to go to court. They are usually the ones that spend less money and get whatever they want on time. But guess what? Most people will not even do that because in their mind,
you just have to.
I cannot get that justice. So they will write a petition that you threaten their life. I'm not kidding. These are what we battle with in our Nigerian business. That you breach peace. Because transaction is civil, right? And so typically the civil route is you go alternative dispute resolution and all of that. But now they have introduced criminal. And what do I notice? For them, first of all, to have turned the case to criminal, the police and the lawyer will have charged a huge amount. Now, to prove that there was any criminal, because remember in the first thing there was nothing criminal, now become difficult to prove in court. And at the end of the day, you just ask them, but why did you do it? Say that's what they told us. Right? But that's also what poverty does, right? Because poverty tells you that, it's difficult to get money. Everybody's all out to cheat you. Everybody's trying to play a game. Nobody could have made it legit. So naturally, mentally, you are already defensive. You're already, you're already mentally prepared for that. Meanwhile, in reality, things are not always that difficult. Right? They are not always that difficult at all. And yes, it's a risk you're taking anytime you're investing. But ultimately, when you look back after a few years, you're better off investing than not investing at all. I look back at when we started buying land commercially 9 years ago. I lost over 120 million at some point. If I remember, I said to myself, if I quit now, then I'm a loser, because all the lessons I've learned in losing all that money is all gone. But if I re-strategize and look at the lessons and then, recalibrate, then maybe I'll recover. And I never shared that story publicly until we started doing, our business became a multi-billion-naira corporation. Because I knew if I start telling people, they say, we knew it. This is why we too were not investing. It's always risky. They tell you always lose. So I didn't want anybody to discourage me. I didn't even tell my friends that I lost that much. Because a lot of us, and that's why many of us don't go far. You want to do investment, you start calling your friends who are not investors.
Just discourage us.
Exactly, just discourage us. You call your family members who, some of them ask you for 200 euro and you told them you are broke. Suddenly you are telling them to give you advice on a 50,000 euro deal. Like, I just say, what kind of self-sabotage do we often do? Right? What kind of self-sabotage? What do you expect the family members to tell you? Be careful. I suspect they are scammers. What do you expect them to do? So it's ultimately the problem. I remember one of our estates we acquired 2019. Fantastic location, but it was a risk. At the time we acquired it, it didn't have a title. But there was a plan to have the largest, road network. They call it the coastal road. It was going to connect like 8 states in Nigeria. And it was going to pass through that location. So we knew that if we get it right, it's like your estate facing the most plowed routes, and that's just increased the value of the property. And it wasn't before you get to Dangote refinery, the free trade on the seaport. So we knew this was something that was going to be gold, right? So as people started investing, I remember one of our investors invested when it was just 1.5 million, right? And just helping us to understand the mindset we need to have for investment. Because some of us have even done the right investment, but fear made us to just quit, and we still ended up losing just because we're just always scared. So this gentleman had bought maybe 4 plots or something, and then they told him, well, you need to now pay for documents and you need to pay for development. We're doing fence, and all of that. At some point, it just started. Even took them to court, and the company to court. Incidentally, few months later, after they had taken us to court, the road construction started. The value today is now 45 million. What he paid 1.5.
Wow.
Now he wants to settle out of court. So I told her, I said, no, just refund him. Why not even sell it again? Because it favors us to return to you your 1.5 million and get another investor to pay us 45 million for each plot.
Wow.
But I've seen this kind of madness with people, because even when they told me that he took us to court, I was like, who does that? This is a good land. Like, whatever you needed to pay for documentation is not even near the new value of this property. It's not even near. Just do your thing and move on. So my point is that oftentimes, even when we then do investment, we always end up finding a way to sabotage it. Sometimes because our lawyer advised us, and my argument is that the lawyer advising you, how many investment property does he have aside the house he built that he lives in? And we never think it through. That the lawyer that is guiding your investment in buying a land or buying a house, you know what I'm talking about? How many of such investment has he done for himself? Because ultimately you can't give what you don't have. And you know why he has not done such for himself? He's always scared. So when you say my lawyer said, what were you expecting your lawyer to say in the first place? He's never done such. Somebody wants to invest maybe in our Katie project now, and then you call your lawyer. Oh, I want to invest $500,000. First of all, he's never seen such a money. Right? He's never seen such a money. Let's be honest. Then, so what do you expect him to tell you? Be careful. I'm not sure. Do you know this guy? How long have you known this guy? It's just going to ask you a whole lot of questions. I remember somebody wanted to invest in a Katie project, and they went to the bank, and then his account officer said, how much returns are they going to give you? Okay, don't worry, the bank will give you. Don't deal with them. We, the bank, will give you that return. Just keep your... Now, if you knew, you could have given him that kind of interest. All this while, he's kept his money with you people. Why were you not giving him all this while? Okay? So it tells you that today, all the properties I've ever bought, including the one my lawyer recommended and said, I know this guy, he wants to sell this, will you buy? Every one my lawyers have always said, let's be careful. They will never give you an affirmative to say, okay, I've done due diligence, go ahead. They always say, well, subject to your discretion. They will always, and I think it's the thing they taught them in law.
Don't box
you
yourself.
know, eh?
Say, don't box yourself.
Exactly. So they're just so for potential disclaimer in future. But my point is, you then need to know what you want, and not be thinking your lawyer will be the one. Because this is how a lot of people have even lost all their money to lawyers. By the way, a lot of Africans died leaving all they had to lawyers in the name of I trust my lawyer. And if you know a lot of nonsense some lawyers have had to do just because you put all your life in their hands. So my argument is read and buy investment. Buy books like this. Understand it for yourself. I'm not asking you not to get a lawyer, but at least you can then make and say, yes, thank you for the advice, but let's go ahead. Even this KT project, my lawyer raised more than, even when to pay, buy the land, he raised more than 20 objections. You know, the seller, edited maybe like 8. The remaining 12, I had to say, let's still go ahead. It's a risk anyway. And I'm aware of the risk. But my point is that not everybody is exposed enough to be able to make such. Some people just say, well, my lawyer said, these things, and then I'm not doing. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. I hope at least a few things were passed across, and I hope it's helpful. So I'm willing to take questions. I'm willing to take contributions as well. Welcome those of you joining us on IG. Feel free to ask questions as well. I hope you'll be here long enough to know our conversation. So feel free. It's a Q&A now. Thank you. Yes, any question or contribution? Anyone?
Yeah, so possibly we start before the others get their questions going. So I have a couple of questions because I've been following you for a while on Insta and all of that, the lives and everything. So my investment story or my financial story is quite a rough one.
Yeah.
Because I started very young in Nigeria, trying several things, put my hands in a lot of startups and all of that. And somehow at the end of the day, I made a lot of mistakes doing that. And I'm not finding myself saying, okay, I'm doing this right. And then at the end of the day, okay, somehow the opportunity to come abroad came and I came in. So I just want to ask a couple of questions based on that. So how did your story, how did your business success start, for example? Because I know you said you made some mistakes, you lost a couple of money. What was the turnaround? Where did it come from? What were the main things you did to really keep yourself beyond your rough moments to overcome? What were those short principles that kept you and sustained you down to this level? That's number one. So maybe we'll start from there.
So you have more?
Yeah.
So why not ask them?
Okay, so the second one is you talk about passive income and diversification, and you made a very critical point saying that as an employee, the first thing is not to just start building a business, like you said, that you have to save enough money to be able to 8x.
You have to invest enough such that your investment, the return on your investment is more than your existing salary.
Yeah. So
not savings. If you end at savings, you're not helping anybody. The savings has to be converted to an investment.
Yeah. So I want to ask you on about your advice on building a very sustainable passive income portfolio, because there are a lot of things on now, both locally and abroad. There's stocks, cryptos, real estate, and all of that. What's the smart way and the most sustainable way to go about it, in your opinion? So I think those two questions first.
Okay, good questions. So the first one is principle that sustain me. In the course of the rough journey of investing. I think the first thing, and that's why I love reading books and is that I've done a lot of research about successful people and their trials. Even now, I tell people that if not that I've done too much research about biographies of people, I would have felt like I'm on the wrong path. I probably feel that something is wrong. And the problem is that I will have given up before some of the positives I'm getting now will start coming. As I speak to you today, I mean, I can make one of them public because it doesn't mind me making it public. The argument when I started was people abusing me to say how many rich people is always active on social media, and what is, come on, something's wrong, you get the point. Today now, I have so many wealthy people say, oh boy, I'm impressed with, first of all, your courage to have been on this social media thing. Because we're scared. These people will just hit us, they just talk anyhow. So before you know it, a lot of powerful people, even way richer than I am, and I'll say, help me manage my social media. Right? Today, my team manage Dr. Cosmo's social media. There are others I won't mention their name. Meanwhile, as at the time I started, like I said, it looked like something was wrong. Like, why others are not doing. So, and the others they are comparing me with, including Dr. Cosmo, who eventually has said, this thing, okay, it, help me manage it. Right? So, but reading biographies helped me to understand that, look, these things are never easy. All these guys, John D. Rockefeller, Henry Ford, I had to study all of them. And it was tough. In fact, at some point, John D. Rockefeller was about going to jail. It was the wife that apparently had been saving some money without his consent who had to bring out some of those money to bail him out in a critical season. Right? So if you don't know that, you would think something's wrong with you. So what I'm trying to say is that some of what has happened to you might not have been totally because you were doing something wrong. Right? It could have been just part of the normal process. So yesterday when I was doing my show, remember I mentioned how most people don't know I had failed in almost 20 businesses. Right? Yeah. It's the one you then succeed in that the whole world starts saying, he's a genius. And they forget the ones you failed at. But imagine you give up after trying 2 businesses and you say, I will not do. So number one, studying biographies of those who have gone ahead saved me, because I then realized it's because when you study the biography, you see the dirty parts that you don't normally see when you just see JP Morgan. He's the inventor of this. Now, they didn't tell you the struggles of JP Morgan. They didn't tell you that the president even came after him. They didn't tell you that same success that he had was the reason why the government of the day hated him, because this guy was one-man central bank and was the one bailing out, the nation when they go into recession. So at some point, I don't know who was the president that fought World War II. What's his name? That fought World War II. American president.
Vincent Howard.
No, I don't think he's not. World War II. I think he was on wheelchair for a good part. Right, those of you on IG, if you know the president of America during World War II, kindly type his name. But he was the one that got more pissed off with this guy. In fact, he was the one that now eventually set up the Federal Treasury. Because there was a particular recession, I think, whether in this rail sector, and he still had to, like you hated this guy, everyone know you hated him, but you still had to go to him, invite him, and the nation literally was about to go into recession, except this guy bailed you out in a matter of days, which he did. But after that one, the president said, nah, one man can't be this powerful. Now set up the so-called CBN, the called Federal Reserve in America, where there's now an institution whose job is to do that. but you people understand. So when you read something like that, you now understand. So history only remembers, but these people went through. So when you are going through yours, don't be too like, oh, maybe something's wrong with me. The path to success has failure boulevard, and you have to pass through failure boulevard before you get to the street called success. It's just the way life works, right? So the second thing I do is reading books. Yes, Franklin D. Roosevelt. Yeah, thank you, Juatos, Franklin D. Roosevelt. The second thing I did is reading books and attending seminars like you have done now. So I'm always buying books of mentors and going for their seminars. I'm on my way to the US, for example. I'm going for Grant Cardone's event, and I'm paying $30,000 for 3 days. Interesting. That's a lot of money, yeah. So today, when people complain my books are expensive or my coaching is expensive, I just laugh. I say, well, but you should ask the ones I'm paying for, because I'm not like your motivational speaker. I'm doing what I'm asking you to do. I'm just that guy who is just willing to share what he's currently doing. Most people don't want to do that. Even if they will share, maybe in their dying days when they're now 80, I say, my son,
Take this.
take this, right? But in my case, I'm willing to the sky is big enough for all of us. If you know what I know, there's no. If I tell people, I say what I do is subsidize knowledge. That's really what I do. Because it's a case of when you attend my real estate class, a good portion of what I'm teaching is my Harvard class, where I pay $15,000 for. Now you are paying me less than $1,000 to hear the same thing. That's subsidized knowledge. And you're not just hearing my Harvard note, you're also hearing how I have been able to localize it, and how in practical, not just theory now. So you're getting all of that at a more subsidized level. Right? Now I'm going for a training, $30,000. I will still share what I learned from that with people. Okay, so and I can assure you I won't charge $30,000. Even if I decide to charge $30,000, a lot of those who follow me now cannot even afford it. Right? But that's another way I do it. I go for seminars, I pay for books, I sign up for coaching sessions, so that I ask customized questions. Many of those that mentor me are not accessible like this. Even the ones who won't charge you money, you have to serve them. I just mentioned Dr. Cosmos, those are part of how I serve him, to be able to have proximity, to be able to ask questions. So it's either you serve or you pay. But don't expect anybody to mentor you for free. Not everybody will do what I'm doing. You come to Frankfurt, you need to rest. I came in yesterday morning, I'm leaving tomorrow. And then you still want to, few people can come to your hotel room. Let's just have conversation. Not everybody wants to do it. A lot of people even keeps asking me, why do you do it? I say, well, I just have a strong body, to share. Because I just feel the knowledge gap between the extremely successful and the younger generation is too wide. And it's difficult. I get some of them is even security risk to be as open. Some are just scared as well. And if I don't, many of them are beginning to say, okay, well, Stephen, if you manage it, then maybe I will try it, right? If you will do it, because maybe you have figured the way out. But these people too are scared because they are way big, and they just don't trust that these people will come and not want to extort them. And they don't even mind teaching for free, but they're just not sure. So somebody has to do it. The second question you asked is sustainable investments, right? Passive income portfolio. So what I always say is divide your investment into 3.
Okay.
High risk, mid risk, and low risk. That's the best way to diversify. Now, it may even be the same industry, right? But let some of, even in that industry, let some of that investment be low risk, let some of that investment be mid risk, and let some of that investment be high risk. So I'll give you examples. So how do you do that in real estate? Okay, insurance, low risk. So, for example, all our US investment now all have insurance. Of course, you have no choice. In America, it's compulsory. But there are also types of insurance we're beginning to work. We'll be setting up very soon. That yes, what it will be bringing is so low, but it also positions us for certain things. Even though it's still like a real estate insurance of some sort. But any type of insurance is a form of low risk, and you should do it. Right? So the returns may be less than 5%, maybe 5%, but do it. Particularly if it also has a component on health. Right? So I have some insurance that, for example, they're only going to be giving me, 4 or 5% a year. But it has a component that, God forbid, I have a medical emergency. They are going to release minimum $250,000. You see the point now. So if I don't do it because you are feeling but 4 or 5% is too low. But hey, may we not have cancer? I mean, you've seen a lot of people who are wealthy and then it just finish. Some couldn't even survive because they didn't even have bulk money to come out of it. So there are certain types of stuff that are just okay. It might be low, but also there are bits other benefits like if any health emergency occur. So I recommend insurance. Then the second category is mid-risk. So mid-risk investment, you have a couple of mid-risk investments where what you are investing in does not require any work from you and is backed up by real asset. Okay? And that's what our KT project is all about. So the KT project is us building house. Now those investing, is backed by landed property. The land has insurance. When we start housing construction later in the year, we'll do a groundbreaking to start building the house towards the end of the year. All the construction is also backed by insurance. Do you see the point now? So yes, every business is a risk, but it's really, really difficult to say you will lose all your money in such an investment. The only problem is that such investment will not give you what crypto is giving you, will not give you what Forex will give you. But it's another type of investment you put your money. So maybe they are giving you 10%, they are giving you 12%. Now they are not doing 5 or 4, but 10%, 12%, 11%, depending on how much you are investing. But that's good because observing the principle of compound interest, which is one of the things you can even do and say, I'm giving you that money for 10 years, be doing your real estate with it, and let me get it back after 10 years. What you'll be shocked, because of the fact that the money keeps rolling over, is that what you will be able to have cash, liquid, when you're pulling out 10 years later, almost guarantee you're not a millionaire. And it didn't stop that you continued your work. So imagine how in some cases, you probably in 10 years will have 5 to 7 of similar investment. You see where I'm going with? At some point you can now say, I am resigning from my job. I want to start my business, because you've now built that culture of having all these various investments. The problem usually is that all we always do is the high risk investment. That's the third one, right? Because the question you always ask is how much returns. Oh, we'll give you 12. So, no, we will do 12. My friend, I can't do 12. Somebody promised me Forex. They will give me 40%. Promise you.
It wouldn't say per month.
Exactly. No, some will even tell you 15% per month, 10% per month. Right? And people will rush and put all their money into that. And when they lose it, they now say, I can't trust anybody. But come on, it was your greed. Don't blame anybody. Your greed made you to lose that money. It was your greed. Because anything offering, the higher the returns, the higher the risk they've taken. That's all. Even the forex thing. There's a way you trade forex, you will not lose money. The only problem is that you cannot be making high profit. Simple. Because you have to have what we call stop loss.
Yeah.
I don't know, are you getting what I'm saying? So any forex guy telling you, oh, he's giving you 10%, it means even in that trading, he has structured it such that the trading was taking heavy risk. So when people tell me I lost money, I don't know how I lost money, I'm like, no, you were greedy. So today when people bring investment opportunity to me, I'm saying how much return. When you mention certain return, I'm just saying, well, I appreciate you, but I'm not interested. I say, but it's a good return. I say, yes, it's good, but that's even what I'm not doing. I've never heard of such. Who will tell me they are not doing returns? Some of them now want to be showing me evidence. Look at the evidence of this person got his money. That person got his money. Let me see now. See, should I call Jide for you? You confirm. It's not about they didn't get the money or not. But the higher the risk, the return of an investment, the higher the risk. And the quicker it will crash. So when something is giving you high returns, usually it's between 6, some even feel as early as 3 months. But many is between 6 to 2 years. You check it, since Bitcoin has been doing bullish run, since inception of Bitcoin, has he ever gone up 2 years straight?
That's true.
Ever. Right? Has he ever gone up 2 years straight?
Never.
I mean, you take it through. Right? It has never gone up 2 years straight. Never, ever has it happened. Okay? So, meanwhile, at the time you started putting your money in the crypto, you didn't know whether you had 6 months in. And then maybe you just have 3 months to the crash. You didn't know. And that's also part of the problem, because we also don't go get mentors. Pay for somebody who is an expert to coach you. No, I won't pay. I remember I did a training in Dubai. A church invited me, and this gentleman paid for my video course. I just put in $1,000 into altcoin. I thought on how you can make good money from altcoin. Not everything is not Bitcoin. And so he started buying some altcoin. Before you know it, from $1,000 in 7 months to $150,000. Meanwhile, I have a one-on-one coaching program that now goes for $20,000. But as at that time, the one-on-one coaching program was, I think, $3,000. What you learn from this man took your $1,000 to $150,000, yet you did not pay for. You did not say, I need to learn more. Okay? 1 January or so, the thing dropped from $150,000, boom, to 80. He first felt, well, it will come back. then it dropped to 60. He said, no, something will happen. Then it dropped to 40. But by the time I got to 40, he went to pull out. He went to pull out the money. And then was not looking for me. In fairness to him, if I bought some properties from our company, but the lesson is he could have saved $110,000 if he had just paid a $3,000 coaching. Right? So am I asking not to do high risk? No, I'm not. You should. But have a coach. And you have a coach like me, because I will be very hard on you. I'm not going to deceive you at some point. Because if you had told me, like I said, pull out. If I would have insisted, he pull out 100,000. And then we have put this one on real estate, put this one on insurance, put this one on this, put this one. And that's really the way I come, is to give you advice based on one's experience. Say, okay. And if you had done that, yes, 40,000 was still good. Remember I only put in 1,000. But technically, you will have had 100,000 that also will have been appreciated too. Am I making sense at all? And by the time the thing now start crashing, he probably will have still pull out another 20 to 30,000 dollars, because once he notices one or two and tells me, I say, look, at this point, let's even, at least for now, when the market, because you can predict these things once you experience enough. When the market start doing well again, we rush in, or when it crash to the lowest, because the rule of investment is this: always buy when everybody is not buying, and when they're selling. Always sell when everybody is buying. Always go the opposite direction. People ask me, why are you doing the KT project? How isn't the interest rate in America high? Why this time? Why not do the project when the interest rate is low? I say, maybe you don't understand me. I only go in when others are not going. So because of the high interest rate in America, most developers have stopped building, because now they're taking loan at a higher, as high as 11% or more. So they just don't want to even touch development. They are waiting for when the interest rate will be low. But guess what always happens? You now have a 2 to 3 year window where there is now deficit of new housing, because most developers stop building. You see the point? You start building now, it means you will now sell your house at a much more expensive price. Also, the people who are selling the land, because I got a good deal on this 40 acre, right? A very good deal. And the only reason I got it was because the interest rate is already high. So the seller is struggling to get a buyer. And then if they see any buyer, they're willing to give you a good deal. That's how this works, ladies and gentlemen.
I would also like to ask a question.
Please go ahead.
All right. So, all right. In regards to me, over the past couple of years, I discovered real estate was something worth investing in, and my initial goal, I decided to start like some sort of developer, maybe building houses for short-let homes, something of that sort. And I've been in it for a couple of years and looking at bigger projects, looking to introduce bigger projects in Cameroon, similar to what is happening in Nigeria, like building of 8 states and gated communities and all of that. Again, as we know, in the African economy, there are a lot of hurdles along the way. So my first question is, what advice could you give to someone like me who has where in these kind of projects, all you see ahead of you are just hurdles and stumbling blocks?
Well, the answer is what I mentioned earlier, which is mentorship. In Cameroon, I have about 3 or 4 mentees who are developers or real estate investors. And easy, I will just link you up to them. In fact, I do CEO retreat, and every episode I'm always having somebody from Cameroon come for the retreat. The next one is even in Ghana. So I have a lot of mentees that have overcome your hurdle, and, as they got to learn from me. And so it's easy to, one, be able to mentor you on how to do that. Secondly, also link you up with people like that who are also on ground who can help you.
And just a follow-up question to that, please. You at the beginning you mentioned that Africa per se is the future, and young Africans who are actually here in Europe, most of the times we have this conflict or this confusion on whether investing in Europe or investing in Africa. Now, what would you advise for a young African who knows actually that Africa is a potential continent? Is it worth it to invest in Africa or to put your investment in Europe?
Good question. So somebody on Instagram also asked that question about whether it's too much risk investing in Nigeria, and so and that's that. So to answer the two of you, my answer is that the higher the risk, the higher the returns. The only rule is don't do it alone, particularly if you are not based there. Right? So the mistake a lot of us do is like you're not on ground and then you're doing it alone. Remember, and like in one of my videos where I talked about why a lot of those in diaspora should not pack up everything, because when many Africans want to leave Africa, they sell all their businesses, sell everything, right? And then they sell houses, sell everything. So one of them was asking that why wouldn't they do that? Because if you try to give it to anybody to help you manage, they will sabotage it. And my answer is that the reason they are sabotaging is that you are not doing profit sharing. And you've created the mindset, like we say in Nigeria, monkey they walk, baboon they shop, right? So in their mind, you are here in Germany, Frankfurt, chopping life, 247 electricity, good car, good house, and then they are there in the heat with generator, helping you build your empire, right? But if you had looked for the trusted ones and say, you know what, let's start sharing profit, even if you can't do equity yet, to say anything you achieve, right, I'll give you a percentage. Like in our company now, any staff that makes a sale and they were the one that brought the investor, they get 10%. And it's paid just the same way you pay their salary. So because I see people often tell like, how come you have very passionate staff? It's because we do profit share. And this year we've even added more to even say, when we now make profit generally as a company, because you know this one we're even deducting, right? You bring the sale, you already get your 10%. It's not even about profit or not. And I say even when we now make profit, effective from this year, the CEOs, because I've now appointed CEOs for all our companies, and each subsidiary now have CEOs for us. In fact, our group CEO will have been here, but he's a Muslim and he's just breaking his fast. His family is based in Germany. He's a Pakistani, so he heads all the other 7 CEOs. But the same thing we had to do to say, okay, you know what? Whatever profit is made this year, right? If you hit your target, so January all our CEOs made a presentation to the board. We have a board, and we said to them, okay, fine. If you hit your target, you get 10%. You, the CEO, and your senior management will share 5. Your junior staff will share 5. But if you surpass your target, you get 15. 7.5, 7.5. You, the top guys, get 7.5. Your junior staff, you share. So when you create systems like that, it's not enough, and you have mentorship, okay, and you have consultants. The chances that business will work is a lot higher. But in some cases, just go into partnership. Like, even though I'm not a Cameroonian, if you tell me I want to start, this, I can easily get you guys who I've known over the years, who are Cameroonians, who are on ground, who are successful, that you can partner with and do great stuff. So, and that's where mentorship comes in, because sometimes what you don't even have, your mentor can easily bring in for you. But don't give up on Africa. What I'm doing both. Okay, I'm doing both. In fact, this year, our expansion in Nigeria is the highest since we started. The number of estates we are launching this year is in excess of 20. Right? And that's like what we did in the previous first 9 years or so. Right? So we're aggressively expanding back in Africa, but aggressively also expanding outside of Africa. Just similar to the way we said, divide your investment capital into low risk, mid risk, and high risk. So the same way. Okay, have massive investment here in Germany, right, or anywhere else. It could be in Dubai, it could be UK, whichever market you're confident will give you good returns. But at the same time, have, why? the highest returns is still back in Africa. But the stabilizing currency, the most stable currency, is still here in the West. So if you merge the two together, in fact, what will happen at some point is that you'll be able to get liquidity, which is what we actually have in mind. That this US projects and expansion will soon give us an opportunity to be able to have money brought in, repatriated, and profit from US business. You can start bringing it in foreign currency, return it to Nigeria, return it to all these African countries, and the lands we've gotten all these years. You can now start putting polo club, put golf course, put malls, put schools. You see the point now? So I tell a lot of those I've been talking to invest, and you all are welcome to invest as well. Is that this is a legacy project, because once completed, when you control a $150 million project in America, first of all, you can have access to $1 billion in liquid from their financial institution.
Now, if I may please, you mentioned also that petty investors give headache. So, where will you situate them now if they want to join maybe the KT project?
Are you saying you're a petty investor?
No, maybe
you sounding like you want to say, where will you put us? So, funny enough, we still take lower investors, just that we close the windows quickly.
Okay.
So like this KD, we made it as low as $10,000, but we, like in 2 weeks we closed it. It was now left with $30,000. Then we closed it 2 weeks later, left with $50,000. We closed it, so now I think it's $100,000 people. But I'm still open to approving if I know you are really serious.
Okay.
To still approve those lower category if you want to invest.
Okay.
I have a follow-up question as well, not in this regard, but something else. So what you earlier spoke about, you said most of your housing projects are green projects, so which means they are sustainable and it's kind of integrating technology with the housing industry. Yeah. So my question is, in the real estate market, I'll always use my country, Cameroon, where just by introducing some sort of estate projects, it's a really new idea. How do you see introducing such an idea, which is totally new to them, and integrating it with technology and sustainable living altogether? To
Cameroonians?
Yes.
My argument is that value is value anywhere in the world, right? So, I mean, when we came up with the concept of green and smart, we didn't see anybody in Nigeria doing it or saying they want to do it. We were like the first who talked about it. Yes, one of the things we didn't factor in was affordability, which is the reason why we've not built enough houses in Nigeria as we would have wanted. Because now people feel the houses are too expensive, but they will be expensive because we're importing solar, we're importing all these, tools to automate the houses, we're importing everything, right? So my advice would be, if you want to go that route, then think high-end. The land must be bought where the most richest people live, because for me, in hindsight now, if I were to have thought of it, that I would have focused on the green and smart, just go luxury, only buy land in Banana Island. But remember, when I started, I didn't have money for Banana Island, right? So it was more of us buying, 100 acre, 50 acre, 200 acre in places that are not yet Banana Island. We are the ones that now want to turn it to Banana Island, right? So it then means a lot of some feeling, a lot of work, a lot of time for projects like that to mature. You're looking at 20 years, 30 years. So if you're willing to be patient for that long, yes. But if not, just get smaller land space, 1 acre, 2 plots, build, high, maybe 5-story, 10-story, and just do, and make sure it's an environment where the rich lives. Else you build a thing, even if you source for money as well, then people can't even afford it, and that becomes a problem.
Sorry, thank you very much.
You're
Mr. Steven.
welcome.
And I really appreciate your opportunity to meet you today. Really be inspired. Because you've given a lot of nuggets on real estate and life in general. I've learned a lot today. But my question would be, in Africa, in Nigeria today, the naira is really battling to have its value back, and a lot of investors and investment coaches are quite on different divide on whether people should save their naira, their hard currency, which is the dollars or euros, whatever, or still keep investing despite the naira being so much devalued. That's one of my questions. Is it safer at this point to store your hard currency or keep investing, because the naira is very low now in value? And secondly, my question is, do you really think that the real estate sector in Nigeria is overpriced?
Okay. Well, some of these questions are in the book. So I will be willing to sign for you guys today. For the book. The book is $47. I don't know the conversion in euro. $47 euro is
about 43
euro. Okay, but I'll allow you to take it for 25 euro each. Okay, and then if you're taking the entire 400 euro instead of 125 euro. Okay, so he will be our accountant for today. Okay, and then I'll sign for you. So a lot of these questions are there just in case I'm not able to answer sufficiently. When you read the book, you see answers there. But the first question, my answer is, it depends on what you're investing in. First of all, remember, when you keep money in the bank, it is being devalued. I hope you know that. So your euro, what it could buy 2020 when I came to Frankfurt, you won't buy it now. What you could use 20 euro to buy, even the taxi then, I remember when I took from the airport to this hotel, it said 50 euro. I'm like, I don't get it. The last time I was here, and it was the same location. I paid 20 euro, so your money being at the bank, that's why some people we call it savings account, they call it shaving account. They're shaving your head, right? So the money is being devalued. And the devaluation is not just a Nigerian thing. Devaluation is occurring, even with US dollars. So it's not a Nigerian issue alone. So number one, putting money in the bank is not wisdom. Storing it, as you guys call it, is not gold now. So if you really want to store, then convert it to gold and store the gold. If you really want to store, convert it to land, and that's my argument, that it depends on what you put it into. Because if you buy, I gave an example, the guy who bought 1.5 million, that land, right? This was 2020, he bought the land. Okay, 1.5 million. Okay, now the same land is going for 45 million. So are you telling me the devaluation, calculate the devaluation now? The guy is still in profit. Are you getting what? The point is just, where are you buying the land? Who is mentoring you? What's the guarantee that what you're putting your money into, is going to appreciate in value? And that takes us to the conversation that you are even at an advantage. Because remember, what your your 5,000 euro could buy now in Africa. Am I making sense at all now? You needed 8,000 euro to buy some years ago.
Sure.
But because the African money keeps getting devalued, what it means is that you can buy more. So what you should have used to buy 1 plot, now you're buying 2 plots, you're buying 3 plots, you're buying 4 plots. Or you're buying a house that is supposed to have cost you 10,000 euros. I'm just giving an example. Because the naira is getting devalued, now you can buy with 7,000. So you are making more. The only rule is just that where are you buying it? Is it a place that is appreciating in value, or you're going to your village, where properties don't appreciate in value and you're doing it? So at that point, obviously it's a loss. But if you get the right location, it's just, for example, Banana Island. They sell properties in dollars in Banana Island. Eco Atlantic is in dollars, right? So when people talk, it's again, like I keep telling you, don't go the general norm. The majority is not always right. There's also this majority mindset, but they're not always right. The best time as a diaspora to invest in Africa is not that the currency is bad, because you can get more value. But like I told you, make sure you're doing the two, because if I were you, it's period when the African, currency is strong, that I will now sell my asset and buy more here. Do you see now? Periods like this when everybody is selling. Remember what we say opposite now? The period everybody wants to buy, that's when you sell. The period everybody thinks, oh, sell now, that's when you buy. So you as a diaspora, this is the best time to buy in Africa. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense.
But it doesn't mean you shouldn't invest internationally. Like I said, I'm doing both, and I advise you to do both. So both, you can't lose in any way. I hope I've answered the 2 questions.
And to the second question, if it is really overpriced.
It's not. There's just the problem is just affordability is the problem, and flexibility of payments, right? So if you want to buy property here in Europe, there is a mortgage, right? Am I correct?
Yes, correct.
So I don't know whether it's the same with US. You put in maybe 200% or 30%. How much you put in? 10.
18%.
20, around 20 or something.
18-20%.
So you put in 18%, and then you have the house. But let's do a practical math so we get it. How much is a 3-bedroom here?
To buy?
To buy.
18.
Quite expensive.
That would depend on the location.
Depend on the
In
region
Frankfurt,
as well.
In Frankfurt, yeah.
a 3-bedroom apartment in Frankfurt costs you.
You can get that for about 500.
Yeah.
500,000 euros, right?
Yes.
Good. 3-bedroom.
Yes.
Let's change that to Naira. How much does that give us?
Not a lot.
So you understand this will answer the overpriced question right away. How much is that? So 500,000 euros. I think let's even say
650 million. 650 million.
650 million. I have a place right now in Shogotedo, and Shogotedo is relatively good, right? 3-bedroom with a BQ, and I'm selling, if you're paying me outright, I'm selling it for 65 million. So
But 10 of it.
that's 10. And mine has a BQ. 3-bedroom with a boys quarters. So technically 4-bedroom. And I can bet you it probably will be bigger in size than this your own in Frankfurt. Right? So, but the difference is that here in Frankfurt, you just need 18%, 20%, and voila, you're a landlord. In Nigeria, you need the whole money. Do you see the point? That's why there's a perception of, oh, maybe it's overpriced or not. Yeah, there are places where you really wonder why is that high, like Banana Island. Honestly, I live there, but it just doesn't make sense to me sometimes, the pricing. But of course, in those places, you know that it's the rich that have made it, you know, so that the poor doesn't come and disturb them there. And they can have their freedom. Okay, so I mean, it's more of the rich that keeps making the price in that area go up and up and up. But the general property in Nigeria, I think, is even cheaper, right? And considering the fact that the potential, I mean, this was Washington Post that says Lagos will be the largest city in the world. America is building their largest embassy in the Atlantic. Right, and America has a major dream for Nigeria right now. Major. They're expanding heavily, agriculture, military-wise, a lot of stuff. They have a vision, right? Big stuff, and the data, you know. In fact, that's why I can tell you as far more as America has a vision that in the next 50 years, 1 out of every 5 Nigerian will be American, either by residency or by citizenship. That long term. So even now, every day, African Americans, it's almost as if the government told them, are doing ancestral DNA tests. They are coming back to Nigeria. They are looking for land to buy, and they are, you know, I kid you not. You know, I kid you not. And they are coming. They are doing business. They are trying to do so. So again, I don't know how they told their people, but if you study Nigeria, you just realize it's just a fact. People are, you know, Americans are just coming in and coming in and coming in, but they're African Americans. You know, so my point is that in the next few years, even if it's 400 square meters you own in Lagos, you're already a billionaire. Because of the population growth. Because it's the population growth that makes the value of real estate to go high. That's how real estate goes high. It's just population growth. He was telling me, I don't live in Ireland. Have you? Yeah, it's the island you're from. Yes. I don't live there. So, but when he told me property prices are going up, I said, so are people moving in? He said, yeah. I said, from where? He said, Ukraine. I said, that's it. Because he was also thinking maybe the property price in Ireland is a bubble. By the way, it's a bubble and it's not a bubble, because if something happened, the war is over, and they all go back to Ukraine, it becomes a bubble because the property price will suddenly just crash. You get my point now? But ultimately, something is pushing it. And in the case of Lagos, that won't happen. Never. Yeah? That won't happen. Because naturally, there is rural-urban migration, which is a global issue, right? And I'm not sure that is about to end anytime soon. Everybody want to come to Lagos. Everybody's moving to Lagos. Even the so-called African Americans who are discovering their heritage, where are they going when they come to Nigeria? It's Lagos. Yeah. Right? So Lagos has a destiny that I don't think anybody can change. That's why even me, I'm not from Lagos, but my highest volume of investment is in Lagos. Because it's about, you have to think of where you get the highest returns. Not where you are from. And that's part of the mistake we make as African. Oh, I'm building my village. I want to help my people in my community. Well, too poor people can't help themselves. Right? One has to get to the top before it throws the rope to help the others. Exactly. So why not become extremely wealthy first? Then you can see how many of your village people you want to help. But so for me, that's my vision. I intend at some point maybe put a university in my village. But let me make all the money in Lagos first. Then I can go to my village and buy. But too poor people can't help themselves. You have to get to the top first. When you're at the top, you can answer, at this point, let's see how we can help. That's the way it should be.
Okay.
Yes, so Let's
I don't
wrap
know.
up.
Okay. I know
Yes.
you've been speaking for a while now, so I'm kind of pacing you so that you don't get too tired. So I don't know. Can I just throw in two final questions
Yes.
first of myself? So you talk about a bit about the KT project and some of the projects that you're doing. So I want to first of all start by asking, how do we perhaps I can go to your website to see more of all of that, or most of the opportunities coming up, and because I would like to really explore all of that and see ways to keep
Well,
locally and
Well, chat me up. I will attach one of our wealth advisors to you,
beautiful.
and they will run you through the KD one and the ones back at home. So whichever you want to do. But if you want to do the KD one, you have to be, it has to be this coming week. You have to.
Okay.
Because we are closing investment April 5th. Well, totally. So after April 5th, if you don't have $500,000, don't talk to us.
Okay.
So we're trying to just wrap things up. So anybody want to still invest the lower units, it has to be done this Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah, but I can assure you, it's a good deal because it's one aside the returns. The return is what we call mid risk, so it's not your high returns. But beyond that, we're doing a hall of fame for all investors. So as you drive into the estate, every investor's picture, right, is put there. It doesn't matter even if you invested $10,000, right? Everybody's picture is there. Because it's something nobody has ever done. When completed, it will be the largest green and smart home in America. And then it was built by a black man. It's something we all can make reference to and brag about. So I tell people it's a legacy project. I'm not about the profit. I'm just about let's do it. Let's do it. And it looks as if Trump will still be the next president. And with projects like this, you can make a statement. By the way, you won't be surprised. Trump will invite me. I know how he thinks. With a project like this, he will invite you.
Why not?
Not kidding. He will. And this conversation, when you are not at the table, you can say, Mr. President, my people are not happy with you. You give us this impression. And that's how you change things, right? You have to be at the table.
Yeah.
You have to be at the table. And we are the ones that have to come together and begin to help things like this to become a reality.
Yeah, true. So I don't know. Are you, your company, your organization, thinking of doing something in Europe in the coming decades or years?
No. UK, yes. Europe, no. Canada, yes. Hopefully. And the reason is because Europe is too. Regulation is crazy. I was in Switzerland. I think earlier this year, December or so. I think it was December. It's just too complex, for me. Maybe at some point when we start having some white partners, we can send them, as missionaries to you. But I think that, with the way we are still constituted, heavily black, I don't want to touch Europe.
Okay.
Because Europe will just enjoy fining you. Can just fine you $50 million. Right, over one. Eh?
They are very good at that.
They are very good at that. Over one thing, and it's very draconian. And then the way they just do their things. So I would rather avoid them for now.
Okay.
But as an individual investor, why not? That's normal. You should do that. You should, that doesn't touch you. But we are investing like an institution. It's an institutional kind of investment as it were. So it's better you go to countries you can fight. Right? America now, doesn't matter what you say I've done. I get a good lawyer, we fight it. Let's go. It's even why we expanded faster in America than Dubai. Because Dubai is also, the human right is not as strong, right? If the sheikh is after you, you are dead. Just know you are dead. But in America, you can, call Donald Trump whatever name you want to call him. call Joe Biden, whatever they want to call it, and there's nothing we do.
Yeah.
Right? You overdo, you still go to court. That's what dropped him. That's why his confidence is crazy. And like you can see now, it's most likely the next president, obviously. But he understands, and that's what I love about America, is you can fight. Right? You can fight, and your chances is high as well.
Yeah. My last question for tonight would just be, you talked about scaling, and one of the things you talk about in some of your lives is just you can start small, but you grow fast. And so I was thinking about conversations around somebody who wants to build a global brand, grow a company quick. I'm thinking, what is the due to the complexity involved, how does one build that knowledge required to back up that growth? So you have a very good background in terms of financial knowledge, Harvard and the likes. So how does one build that solid knowledge behind it to grow at a very as it should be in a very complex world like we have today?
Funny enough, I mean, my first degree is in microbiology, and I went to Olabisi Onabanjo University, Ogun State University in Nigeria. So it's when I became successful, I started doing all these courses, outside of Nigeria. So it wasn't even as if, one just had that background. No.
Okay.
So I think my secret is that I learn like a sponge. I'm just ready to soak all the knowledge and get all the knowledge, and just listen and ask questions like you guys are doing. And the honest truth is that most of this learning will be informal, right? The secret to the Harvard thing is just to understand this history, how it works, the real core debt syndicate, how to raise the money now. I didn't learn that from Harvard. You had to check what Grant Cardone is doing, being his mentor, and just, follow that pattern, and knowing that if I get stuck, I can reach out to him. I'm still seeing him this coming week. I can, hey, Uncle G, what's up with this? How do I do this? How do I go around this? So for me, the secret has been building powerful people around me, that if I get stuck, I can go and meet them. They can help out. I can talk to them. And I've always had to do that in many of them. And I'm very proactive. So before I would need someone, I already have it. I intentionally built my relationship with Grant Cardone in case I run into big trouble in America. So I haven't invested over, $200,000 in the relationship, and I'm keeping investing. It's because of that. He's a white male, rather than always feel, all the whites are bad. I mean, some of them know what they're doing, and they have to Grant, they would have loved to come black. Trust me. He just likes to be still like a black guy. Really. So you have someone like that, he's way ahead of you. I mean, if it's to advise you on lawyers, if you run into trouble, so be proactive. That's my point. The real secret is that proactive relationship. So relationship that we need 10 years, right? I will start cooking you today. And because it wasn't when I needed you, I came to you. When I now need you 10 years from now, I say, this guy that has always been good, we died there. Right? So the person is William. And I do it even with people like you. That's why I do some of these meetings. Because some of you, 5 years from now, nobody know how big you will be. 10 years from now. And at that point, I need help. I mean, you are just consider it done. When I met you, I couldn't afford to even pay you, but you did this, and it inspired me. I read your book. I mean, today now I go for events, and I'm sometimes embarrassed when people are giving me the envelope, and it's $100, it's $1,000, it's $500, and they're just saying, I learned this, I met you 10 years ago, I met you 3 years ago. There's a guy who came for my last event. I did a free training in Asaba, and it was one of those annoying training. The capacity was 100-seater, and there were just about 50 people that came, and it was free. I just felt like he wasted money. And I remember him coming and giving me a note. And when we opened the note, he said he's pledging that he will sow a seed of 50,000. So the question is, who first of all has you to sow? Then now you didn't even have the money. You're just writing to say, I will give.
As a pledge.
Like, I mean, this is not a church. It was quite funny. Only to meet the guy. If I had forgotten, it was all reminding me. 3 years later, this guy now owns over 10 estates, done over 3 billion naira in transaction.
Wow.
Now it's true. I was like, wow. This was me angry about the event itself. And looking back, even if it was the only one I came for, it was worth it. And I was worth it. So that's the way to build relationship. Don't serve or pay people when you need them. Do it ahead of time. So that when you need them, they will have known you, they will have built trust in you, and it makes it easy for them to go extra mile for you, because they can vouch for you to a level based on a few things you guys have done together.
Wow.
I dressed it.
Yeah, so much.
Right. I hope you got value. All of you joining on IG. If you join late and you're crying, sorry about that. You can watch it. I'm saving the video so you can go back and watch it. So now I'll just sign the books. For those of you on IG, you're welcome, Judge Miracle. So those of you on IG, you can call this number to buy my books, and it will be shipped to you anywhere you are in the world. Or you can just go on Amazon. My books are there on Amazon, so you can go there. Okay. So once again, nice meeting you, and
I'm
thank
so
you.
happy. I'm glad I could meet up 3 years ago. I think it should be or thereabout also. In 2022 or so, just after COVID, you had a mentorship in Dubai.
Yeah.
I think I applied, and it was somehow because of work and other commitments here, I could not make it. And I'm just telling my friend how I could maybe attend that mentorship for the period of time it would have, like over the years.
Yeah.
But again, it's never too
It's
late.
never too late, right? It's I always say that.
I'll be glad to know more and to have you as my mentor.
No problem. It's my pleasure. I mean, it starts someday. I mean, the relationship is started today. And I tell people, even the mentorship should start with books, right? Because a lot of time we want to start mentorship, and it should start with books. From books to attending seminars to being able, even for Grant Cardone. I started by following Grant Cardone online. Bought the 10x book, but today now there's a one-on-one relationship. So I think that's the way it should be. Relationship grow over time. You build. But what's more important than my argument is always practice. Don't just make it about being excited. Practice what. Take some steps. Baby steps are powerful. Your little way. Okay, this one taught me something. Let me start here. Yeah, because that's ultimately what we will rejoice over 5 years from now, 10 years from now. I say, I met you at this event. This is what I've been able to do with the knowledge I got from you. And for me, that's what gets me more excited, because each meeting is a sacrifice. And what gives the joy is who people evolve to become ultimate. That's what gives the joy. Now, okay, we took this risk, we gave this time in, and these people have become this big.
So who needs a 5? Who needs all the 5? Who needs a...
Okay, love you all on IG. We end it today at this point. Live from Frankfurt, Germany. Okay, live from Frankfurt, Germany. We love you. Bye.